Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Gallo with WCR Spotlight, and as you can see behind me here, we're going to hang out with Mark Petros today. He's from Ball Python 777. Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with Mark Petros. Mark, thank you for having us today.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for bringing us into your world, your realm. Mark, you have been in the hobby for how long now?
I started breeding snakes like in the early 90s, where I worked with a bunch of different kind of morphs, different corn snakes, king snakes, milk snakes, boa constrictors, anacondas, tree boas, basically a little bit of everything. Kind of a Noah's Ark mentality when I first started, and then at around the year 2000 I switched and started buying the ball pythons, and like the last 10 years or so I've kind of been specializing just in those.
As far as when you made the switch, how big was your collection of ball pythons when you first decided to start breeding?
Well, when I first bought my first ball python, it was with the intention of breeding, so I bought, it wasn't just one or two randomly. I bought a male albino and a couple of het females, you know, just specifically to do that. And then I went out and bought a group of pastels, and then I went out and bought a group of ghosts, and just started buying them a morph or two at a time. But you know, when I started out, things were a lot more expensive. You couldn't go out and get a pinstripe for $250. Pinstripes at the time were $25,000.
Wow!
So it was literally saving up all year to go out and get a pinstripe, or you know, a spider, or some of these things of, you know, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. They were really expensive when they first started. So things are much more affordable now, where everyone can enjoy the animals.
Now that you've been doing this for 10 years, and we're starting to see, now this is a product of your breeding?
Yeah, that's a piebald that we produced and we held back.
Wonderful. And what are you holding?
This is actually a honeybee, and it's a little bit different than a normal honeybee. It's a paradox honeybee. Just got a real funky, weird head and different kind of like blotching and you know, stuff throughout its body. I'd show you like a regular honeybee for comparison. These guys are actually brother and sister, but you can see like the heads and some of the different markings on it. I mean, this is a really, really nice honeybee. This is just more kind of unique with that random paradoxing that kind of happened to happen.
Holding there, Mark.
This is actually a superfly. It's a triple morph. It's a super pastel fire, and we produce this by breeding a firefly to a pastel. So the pastel to pastel part hit on the super pastel, and then the fire gene hit on it as well. We got 2 of these this year, and that was the first time we've ever produced them. So it's the firefly taken one step further.
Okay, and what am I holding here?
That is a pastel sugar. No complicated genetics there, just a cool looking snake, just a sugar bred to a pastel. Or in this case, we had a pastel sugar, and we bred it to a normal, and it will actually replicate itself 1 out of every 4. We got real lucky. We had a 9/8 clutch. We got 5 pastel sugars in 1 clutch, just from a normal female.
Now, is this one a triple gene or a double gene?
That's just a double gene.
This is just a double.
That's just pastel and sugar. We've put this guy back, and then here, why don't you hold on to that guy, and then we'll show you like a triple gene. This is these are the sugar blasts. This is that same thing. You took that male pastel sugar and we bred it to a pinstripe. So you have the same 2 genes here, but then you're also hitting it with the 3rd gene, a pinstripe gene, making essentially a sugar lemon blast. And you can still see all the white, you know, on the sides. And these guys change as they get older. That white becomes a little bit more vibrant and more pronounced. And these are young. They're from my last clutch of the season, so these are going to get even more spectacular and vibrant as they get older. Pastel piebald. So obviously you see the piebald influence with the white, but this guy's being a little shy. But let me show you next to a regular baby piebald, and you can see the difference. Just the pigmentation. This orange on the regular one will turn darker as it gets older, and then hopefully with this more of the yellow and black like a pastel will have. Go back to the sugar theme. This is a super pastel sugar. So, you know, we're taking this pastel sugar and breeding it to another pastel. So we're still got the sugar gene, but we've got the super pastel versus a regular pastel. So a little bit more of a faded look, a little bit more extreme, and then you're carrying the genetic bonus of having a super pastel versus a regular pastel. This is another triple morph. This is fire, pastel, yellow belly. So essentially we took a firefly and bred it to a yellow belly and got this neat triple morph.
If someone wanted to purchase one of your animals, how would they be able to do that?
The best way is probably just to go to my website, ballpython777.com. It's got my home phone number on there, my business phone on there, my email address. So I'm not a hard person to get a hold of.
Excellent.
And we do some of the local shows. We also invite people to come over. Sometimes people are like, hey, I'm from Iowa, I want to take a road trip, come to see Chicago and pick up these animals in person. So people are always welcome. And we are able to ship throughout the United States as well as to Puerto Rico. So a lot of our stuff is through the internet and shipping. The Ghost Fire. So not too many of these were produced this year. It's a really unique animal. Really, really pretty. Something we're real happy to produce this year.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you so much for bringing us into your world and showing us a little bit of the behind the scenes of what happens as far as keeping and breeding ball pythons.
Yeah, come back later in the summer. We got all kind of eggs hatching and be a little bit more new stuff to show you too.
Trust me, we're already making that plan.
Cool, nice.
We'd love to come and see what happens during that time. Hopefully get some that are coming out as well as the ones that are already hatched. But Mark, thank you so much.
No problem.
Pleasure being here. And everybody, Mark Petros at Ball Python 777. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ballpython777.com. He's also one of ours, WCR. Find him on Facebook. And I'm Gallo for WCR Spotlight. Peace.